Why, hello everyone, and welcome to an in-depth review of a game by Mannered Desert 7. This has been a special request by Mannered Desert, so I can take a look at his game, give him some feedback, hopefully help him out a little bit with his gameplay. And in this matchup, he is playing against Rogerio TRD. Mannered Desert is a bit of a lower elo player. I think it's below 1,000. I didn't check the exact elo at the time, but I'm not going to hold that against him. Instead, we're just going to take a look at his gameplay, see what we can do to help him out, and we'll go from there. A couple things right off the bat I'm seeing is the delay at first in just getting those scouts out. And yeah, unfortunately, this makes it a bit easier for things like that to happen, where the scout could just kind of just take out one of your oracles. It's a pretty big dip in favor. As Gaia, I'd also recommend you getting that Gaia forest going right away. You gather more wood more quickly through the Gaia forest than through a regular tree like with this one here. Because it's 1.65, I think it's like 1.8 or something with the Gaia forest. So definitely worth grabbing right off the bat. And here you can see even more harassment. The Zeus player is just really doing a great job of harassing your oracles, making sure you don't get that favor up. So yeah, it's a bit of an annoyance. You can look into the stop command. There's a way to command oracles to not do anything, essentially, even if they're being attacked. So worth looking into that hotkey at the very least. And that's a pretty good placement I would have done this as a second Gaia forest, just because it's better to get that first amount of wood a bit more quickly. So definitely a good spot for it to block off that little vulnerability for your citizens. But overall, this seems to be a pretty good start for you. Getting gold and food going. 1-1 on wood and gold is usually a pretty good start, but the rest on food is pretty typical for Atlantean. The main thing is getting that temple up and that 400 food as soon as you can. How many are you going for? 8 maybe? Might go for a 9 citizen build, which is perfectly fine. Considering you got those eco upgrades, my guess is you're going to go for a 9, but we'll see how things go. Thus far, your oracle movement seems to be okay. I personally would send one a bit more towards where because you know that the opponent's going to be on this corner of the map based off of where yours is, because every map is going to be roughly a mirror of your side. So whenever you see, like, for instance, your base in the center on this side, you know their base is going to be in the center on this side. When you see a TC here, you'll know there's going to be a TC either here or here, depending on whether it's mirrored like this or like this. So definitely worth sending the oracle to where you know their base is going to be. Just keep an eye on them so you know when they're about to age up, etc. It's just little things like that. Alright, you're getting your 9 citizen build for an age up. You're going through Oceanus. Definitely a good choice. Those Marmillo upgrades are definitely the way to go. Good split as well during age up. This is a good one in my opinion, especially if you're going for more of that eco build with a second TC or Terma raids. And this is also very good. 2 citizens on food is the minimum required to maintain citizen production, so it's definitely good you have those there.
Herr Joe's?
Pretty good placement for your second. Oh, actually, with this one, I have to disagree a little bit with this one, especially if you want to go for the second settlement. You run the risk of blocking yourself off right here. It might make a little bit of a choke point you're not willing to accept, but might still be able to squeeze in through there. Just something to think about. Alright, now with this Caladria, you'll want to send this around the map to everywhere else you have not yet explored. Good job getting these relics, those are quite useful. You also want to, let's see here. This one also is huge. This Pegasus Scout is really nice. Oh, you can see this, if you have noticed this one, you'll have to be unable to grab this one. Unfortunately, you didn't scout that one out, so a bit unfortunate, but it's fine. Let's see here. I'm not going to go into the large... I'm not going to go into the overview map where I can see everything, just because I want to see this from your perspective. You know from his age up that he's got Hermes, so that means the Centaur. Pretty good. This been in the barracks is pretty decent. You're definitely going for an ultra defensive build.
Scopos.
Yeah, good work with the Caladria, scouting out, seeing what they're doing. Okay, you can see he has the stable. You saw that he's going for the stable right there.
Scopos.
It's very risky to go straight over a town center, because usually it's just enough to kill the Caladria. It's best to go around the outside. But the key thing is you can see the stable right here. That means you need to have Murmillo at the bare minimum, ideally Catapultes, because those will really do a good job dealing with those enemy horsemen. At this point, you know there's only two directions he can come from. He can either only go through here, or through here. I would move this Oracle to right about here, to where he can't see you, but you can see his troops going through. That would be my preference. As for the other Oracles at this stage, or your scouts, you want them to be on the TCs to see what he's doing. Like, this one's perfect. You'll be able to see when he's building the TC, but he will likely not spot your Oracle while you're aging up. Well, aging up, but while he's building. With this one, you can just turn and fight that one. Yep, there you go. Easy kill on the Kataskopos. I think is how I pronounce it. Alright. Pretty decent time for a second TC. Alright. At this point, when you're going for a second TC like this, you'll want, especially on this type of map where there's so many choke points, you definitely want to make sure you have sight. Line of sight on where he's coming from is the key. Like, you know, you block this area off, so you know he can only come through here, but you're not watching here, so it's going to be very difficult. And if you're paying attention to the minimap, you've just seen the little red through here, so you know there's a raid incoming. Always keep an eye on the minimap as much as you can, especially in the areas where there's chokes. And there are those two Hippias coming through. Two Hippias isn't too bad as long as you can garrison this citizen. Garrison, send it for garrisoning first. Don't worry about trying to kill them first. Just garrison and send them back as soon as you can. You do manage to take out two of them. And be mindful of where you have your TC rally set to, because sometimes that can cause issues. As you see, you lose a second citizen right there. Okay, so here's the thing with the counter barracks. Unless you know for a fact that he is going for something specific, you should not build a heavy anti-unit like this. You have not seen any infantry yet, so going for a chair ballista is not ideal. Second, you should have kept this on the Lush here for that little bit of extra healing. I think you would have survived and taken out that Hippias right there. In this case, however, you end up, I think, losing this fight almost. You might be able to succeed, actually. When their heroes are targeting your Mythian, just send them away. Doesn't matter if they aren't able to heal. Their hero isn't doing anything. So, always best just to send them away. So, not the best engagement, but it could have been worse. You do now have your oracles watching these two TCs. That's useful. I would send one a bit farther forward to check his side TCs, because you know you have a settlement here. You know he'll have one at least here or here. It's always worth keeping an eye on that one to know when he is aging up. Not aging up, but getting for a second TC as well. Alright, so one thing that happened during that was that your citizens ran out of chickens, and that meant that you fell behind significantly on your food income, because you need at least 2 at all times per TC to maintain citizen production. So in this case, because you have the 2 TCs, you need at least 4 citizens on food at all times, and at least one citizen per TC on wood. So 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1 is the ideal. Having Caladria out is good. I would use them more for scouting at the moment. It's like I would be sending these up just to check, because if you still had your Carnivora, you could have Caladria sitting over here just watching this TC. And if he tries to go for a second TC, you can drop the Carnivora. And these do a decent amount of crush damage, so a decent amount of hack damage, especially to an unfinished town center that can easily destroy the town center before it's even built. Still going for those Cherballista. These are expensive if your goal was to just take out the Pegasus. I personally would recommend for this sort of thing to just get one Terma to take it out, if that's what your goal is. This is where scouting is huge. Even if you're sending a Caladria up just to take a peek, these guys are very fast, and they can fly over all these cliffs, so you can just have it hovering right around here, just poking in and out. At the bare minimum, you're going to make him invest in sentry towers, use up resources, and otherwise, it will just give you a much better vantage point of what he is building. The thing with Greeks is that you can always tell what they're building based off their production buildings. Thus far, you only know he has a stable, which means you want these Catapeltes. Perfect. This is the one you want. How many do you have? Just the one. This should be your priority at the moment because you do not see anything else. You're doing a good job walling things off. This is definitely an interesting wall right here. He's definitely seeing it, so this citizen is likely going to end up dying if he sends anything over there. For this sort of maneuver where you're just putting a wall up right in his face, you need your army right here. Like, yeah, you're sending it forward now. This is what you need to do. Have these up here and ready to defend this citizen so he is able to get this up. Alright, so you're pushing forward a little bit, seeing what's happening. That's good. You're doing a good job walling off these choke points. That is definitely an awesome step. Oh, got an engagement here. Okay, now you know he also has infantry, so this Cherballista is now warranted. You're going to be able to take these out, thankfully, pretty easily. Oh, but here we go. This is where the issue comes in. You know this is where the issue comes in. He has a lot of Hippias. So your Cherballista are not going to do a lot in this instance. Ever since you saw this right here, you should be ensuring you have a Caladria or an Oracle hiding off in a corner. Like, if this was the enemy base, you could have one like hiding right here or right here, just off in the corner where it's unlikely he'll have vision all the time, but you might be able to spot tiny things. And in this case, he just has so many Hippias that it's just going to be a big issue for you. Alright, looking a bit at your macro, you have a lot of gold, but not much food. That's going to take some time to get used to, and one thing you can do if you run into the situation is to just drop a market and buy food. Because right now, you need Catapeltes. You don't need Murmillo, you need Catapeltes. You have the countermeasures you need. You got 2 right here. You need those in there right away. One other thing you can do to help with this is you could upgrade your tower to get crenellations. This crenellation adds a multiplier to town centers and towers against Hippias or cavalry. This is definitely the way to go. Alright, these Catapeltes are definitely the ones you want to be focusing in right here. So like right here, this is perfect. You got your Catapelt. He's moving in. Let's see here. Do you have... Okay, you need to get the weighted... One thing you must do if you're going Oceanos versus this is weightless mace. This is a huge bonus for Atlanteans against a cavalry-focused or cavalry-heavy attack. It significantly helps you out. Another thing you can do is... Yeah, what you should be doing is staying under this town center. I don't know why you ran up here. This town center is going to be helping a lot. It's dealing 20 pierce damage per second bonus. You need to keep your troops under support at all times. So that's definitely a bit of a mistake on your part. Another way you can also boost it up is when the town center is garrisoned with like citizens or your troops, then it can increase the damage. I see you got the watchtower. You should be getting crenellations next if you can. Okay, there's just a bit of... Maybe you thought that you couldn't get through here, but Excuse me. A good placement of the trees just to try and block that off permanently. At this point, though, he's in your base and your economy has ground to a halt. What you should be doing at this point is, instead of just garrisoning everything, you should be having your troops, your citizens, moving away from the attack and over here to like these berries, over here to the wood, like eating these cows. Something that's a little bit more safe, just being mindful of where he's attacking so that you can try and prevent them from destroying all of your citizens like he's doing right now, essentially. And unfortunately, you're down to 17 citizens, possibly 16. I feel like this is mostly just a matter of you getting a little bit overwhelmed with all the pressure that's on you, where you just weren't able to get those in. But yeah, it's definitely something you need to be mindful of. It's not really worth... I don't know if it's worthwhile, but yeah, it does something. It works out. So that I'm not gonna... This Caladri's Carnivore is fine, so... But at this point, you know he's going heavily into cavalry. You need to keep those catapulties going. Murmillo are generalists. They're what you make if you don't know what your opponent's doing, and you just want to be on the safe side. But in this case, you know he's going heavily cavalry. You still have your Pegasus. I would send this over just to check to see if he's doing anything different. But all we've seen thus far is just more and more of the Hippias and the Centaurs. So you know he's going heavy cavalry, heavy, really fast units. You really need those upgrades for your catapulties. So now you have the weightless mace, perfect. So this is pretty good. Now you've got those. At this stage, you are really far behind because of all the damage you've taken to your economy. There's only a couple things you can do. You can see he's already going for a TC here. Considering he's going for this forward TC, you can guesstimate, even though you haven't scouted, that he's likely already taken a second TC in the back. That means he's almost certainly got ahead in villagers over your citizens, etc. At this point, your best bet... Let's see here. You've only got watchtowers at this point. At this point, your best bet is just to wall off. Like, add walls here. Did he make a storehouse right here? Right next to your gold mine? I need to check this. Oh my word, he did. Like, you can see this. You know he's right there. You could send your army right there to go kill. And you do see it, thankfully. You do see that. This is just him being really disrespectful. Just mining your gold, trying to reduce it. You do have other gold options here. But you really need... What you really need to do is wall off this section. Add like a wall here, a gate. Maybe wall this. Something to act as a roadblock against his Hippias from coming through. He's still only in the classical age. As are you. But you need something to give you the edge to keep you... to make sure you don't fall too far behind, because just ecoing up is not going to get you the rest of the way.
Herr Joes?
So at this point, what you need to be doing, you have a small army, good split, you have a decent army here. I would still be using this Pegasus more. This is a really powerful unit. You're kind of just sitting it over on the side, so just something you have to keep in mind. But you definitely need walls. Walls right here. I would even consider investing in stone walls, because this adds hack armor, which means he will have a lot more trouble just barreling it down with his Hippias. And then you basically need to go for Heroic Age at this point. You need some kind of edge, and without some kind of decisive fights, and without any cavalry to speak of, you don't have many options. As Gaia, your best option here, I think, would be to go for Heroic Age, get some Contarius up, and do some raiding in his backline. Put him on the back foot as you defend what you have, your 2 TCs, and go from there. Like this forest here, you already have this area walled off. You have a gold mine here. You've got 2 gold mines actually, and you have a settlement here you could turn into the TC. So this Gaia forest is not ideal, but it's fine. Like, I guess it helps a little bit on this side, but it's not the best situation. Considering how much you're using god powers, I would also recommend getting a couple extra oracles out, just like putting some over here. You can also have them in your main base. It doesn't matter if it's in your main base or not, as long as their circles don't overlap, and you only have these 3, so that's fine. You're just having a couple more. I think 5 would probably be ideal, so you just have like a little bit of extra per minute. Okay, this is risky. You know his TC's here. You know his TC's right there. You're not going to be able to get this up. Like, his TC can out-damage what the Caladria can heal. I don't think this is worthwhile, but... And then here come his Hippias army, and just lost that citizen. Yeah, you've known this is coming, and if you've done some scouting, you probably would have seen the... Oh, no. Okay. Alright, we need to pause here. You heroized all your Mumillo as the fight was starting. Heroization takes time. It takes like 2-3 seconds to get off. During that time, you went from 11 Murmillo to 6 to 5. You lost half your Murmillo while they were aging up, heroizing. That's a huge loss on your part, unfortunately. Like, you knew he was doing centaurs. You should have heroized these beforehand, but even then, if you decide you want to heroize, that you need to pull back first. The only way you can do this sort of thing in the front is if you went Prometheus when you're playing Kronos or Uranos, but Gaia does not have that option, unfortunately, so it's kind of threw away half your Murmillo in this instance. And at that point, they're so outnumbered that they have no chance as it is. So that's something to keep in mind with the Atlanteans. They take like 2-3 seconds to get that in there, to get that heroization, and at that point it's just too late. You know his army's right there. You should have pulled these back long before he came over here. Just something to think about. You know you have citizens here. You know he has a Pegasus here, so you know that he knows they're there. You just need to pull those back once you know there's an army here. He's in Heroic. You are also going for Heroic, but at this point, I'm not sure how much good that's going to do, considering your army is basically non-existent. I think you might have had a chance to hold a little bit longer if you'd walled this up and gotten, like, crenellations for that extra multiplier versus these Hippias, but unfortunately... You don't have that, unfortunately, and it's kind of a bit too late. What you could do as well is you would want to pull these back to this side of this choke, so they can only come in one at a time, and your units can make use of their advantage. What did you use the trader on? I didn't see. Was it like a regular unit? Because see, you can only go in like a couple at a time, and your catapultists could have sat right here and dealt damage with some Terma back here trying to poke down these Toxotes back there, but unfortunately there's just that gap open, no units to contest it, and his army is just able to go straight in, and unfortunately that's what led to the loss. It's interesting though, because now that we can see the full map, we can see that, let's see here. Let's go, can we? Can't see it, but you can see actually he did not end up going for that second TC, which means that during that time you could have pulled ahead a lot more economically with just a little bit of extra defense. Like an extra wall here, maybe go for stone walls, doing that scouting to see his stables here, because he went there for those first, before he went for the military academy and the archery range. The key thing here is just scouting the outside edges. You don't have to go into the main center, because TC does a lot of damage. The best thing to do is just scout this outside rim, see what he's producing, and respond from there, especially as Atlantean. these counter barracks units like the catapultes do a huge damage versus their counter units, but you have to be mindful of what that unit is first. But yeah, some things to keep in mind as you move forward, Manard. It was definitely a good game to watch. I think you had some good moves. Like, this was an excellent move to get this walled off right there. You claimed this whole section. You just didn't capitalize on it as much as you probably could have. And you also definitely need to be a little more aggressive with scouting, especially when you have Caladria and Pegasus. Just scouting the outside edge, poking in every now and then just to see what he's doing. Because even when you do see that, you need to be ready to respond fully. Because you knew he had stables, you knew he was going for Hippias, so catapults were the way to go. Well, I hope this helps you, Manard, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little in-depth analysis of Manard's game. If you did, please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!